It's Friday, my dudes.
Thank God it's Friday.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake. We are awake. We are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are awake. We are awake. We are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
And a happy Friday to you all. Welcome to Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Realm Media podcast channel. My name is Josh Corey. Off to a late start today, but that's all right because, hell, I'm in no hurry. We are super laid back here. Just biggest, deepest apologies to Liz the Iron Maiden because I know she's super sleepy and ready to go to bed, and we are keeping her up every minute we go past our start time. So apologies, Liz. We love you. Well, we've got an exciting show. We're going to talk do a little recap, a little summarization, and whatever other thesaurus words I can pull out. Anyway, let's just jump right in and say hello to the crew, starting off with, let's do Mr. Zachary Zabala. You might know him as Good Times for All here on YouTube. We know him as the Nomad. Mr. Too Nice for Ice, the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man himself. Zachary, how are you doing?
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody out there. Doing pretty well. It was an awesome week. It wasn't just a weekend. Yesterday was our final guest leaving. So, yeah, we had a jam-packed, pretty much week full of people just coming and visiting. It was awesome. I can't wait for the next one. I don't think it should be 6 months. I can't wait till these are happening like every 3 or 4 months. But yeah, no, this should be a good show. I'm excited. So
Me too.
yeah.
Well, then let's say hello to one of the other partners in crime. They're on the Ironworks that was not on Truth Frequency Radio this morning. Mr. Lucas King, LC King on YouTube. Lucas, how's your Saturday going?
It's good. Happy to be here. Happy to chill out with you guys, and looking forward to getting the download on what happened, and wish I could fly across and suss one of these things out myself, but maybe one day.
One day.
So, dude, you got to build it Plural generator, man. You
I
could have
know.
came and been home. You could have just came for Friday, went home, and then came back Saturday.
It's true.
No
That's
problem.
true.
But that's a lot of work. Why don't you just get your vaccination like everybody else and be a good little citizen so that you can get your passport so that you're allowed permission? Whew.
No thanks.
I had a little bit of a rant at myself in the car going into work this morning just because on the words on the radio that I heard were more freedoms for vaccinated people. And I thought, well, somebody doesn't understand how freedom works. So after I got my blood pressure down, I just went into work and forgot all about it till just now. But yeah, more freedoms for the vaccinated people. All you got to do is vaccinate and we'll allow you some more freedoms. You're welcome. Because that's how freedoms work. We give you freedom, you see, because we're the government. So all your freedom comes from us. We take it and we give it because that's what freedom is. Anyway, we got Zach, we got Lucas. Let's just go ahead and round it out with Mr. Walter Johnson. You might know him as Flat Earth Head on YouTube. Walt, how are you?
I am good, Josh. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever, sunset, dusk. It's cool here. Loving Friday. Glad. Trying to tell everybody there in chat hello. Glad you guys are here. Please share. Let everybody know that, we kind of lost track of time and things were going on. And here we are. We were chatting and having a blast. And now we're going to share that with you guys. So you've heard me out. Let's get these other people in here. Yes. It was a great show this morning. Definitely go check it out. We had a show with our new regular buddy now. Caleb was in the house, Wilkinson, and it was amazing again. So y'all check it out. It's on YouTube. It's not on TFR. So we'll discuss all that later. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, and you'll be able to get over there and find out who was late this morning as well. Anyway, let's say hello to Mrs. Cammie Nodell. It feels like it's always so long in between times I get to talk to you, Cammie. How are you doing? How have things been going? How has your life been?
Well, my life has been wonderful. This is the feeling of the best kind of hangover and withdrawal ever, of having just inundated with people you love and experiments in mind and children, everybody all around you. It is right now the bittersweet withdrawal, but I have a lot to be bittersweet about it. I'm really blessed. It's been a fabulous, fabulous week. Solar return is amazing. You're right. It can't take longer than 6 months. It's the way we're supposed to live. And Josh, on your note, freedom, well, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. That's a little bit of prescience in music. Happy Friday, everyone. It's good to be here.
TGIF. Well, hell, since we're at the Nodells, let's say hello to Mr. Bob Nodell. You might know him as Globebusters. They're on YouTube, Bob. How are you, my good sir?
Well, I am doing just a hunky-dory, Josh. I'm glad to be here. And yeah, it's been a fantastic week. We had a lot of excitement going on around here with the Solar Return Festival. Karen B knocked it out of the ballpark once again. And we just had a fantastic event with lots of people that showed up. So many things going on. The weather cooperated, was absolutely perfect. And yeah, good times.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Well, then let's say hello. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We'll do it just because it's fun to say. You know him. We love him. Mr. Nkululeko Duma. Duma, how are you, my good sir? How have you been? It does feel like it's been forever since I've gotten to speak with you.
Hello. Bora, Molo, Sanibonani. It has been a while. I've missed everybody. How's everyone doing? I'm doing great.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're doing well.
Always a pleasure, Nuka.
Oh, he's not getting off that easy, sir. There's some congratulations well in order. Tell everybody the news.
The news.
The news.
Oh,
News to
that
us.
news.
Where's she at? She needs to get on here
that
fussing
news.
too. Oh, this dude is already in hot water and it hasn't even gone.
Yeah, the news is I got kicked out of my local strip club.
This guy, I don't even know you anymore.
No
Oh my
hands,
gosh.
Nuka. No hands. How
No.
many times do they got to tell
No.
you? Keep your hands to yourself.
Everybody, I got engaged 2 weeks ago. Everybody's invited to the wedding. Provided there's no lockdown.
I wish I could make it to that bachelor party apparently. My goodness. Anyway, congratulations, friend, truly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome, Nuka.
That's good stuff. How long have you known the lucky lady?
7 years.
That's no joke. And
Yeah, it
About
was.
how long
Everybody
you
was
and Dixie
asking me
were
when I'm
together.
getting married. So
Isn't that about the same time you and Dixie were together before you guys got married, Josh?
right about the exact same time. Indeed, it was.
Lucky 7.
Which I think really does work out well because they say that your body regenerates its cells once every 7 years. You're a whole new person. So if you can be with somebody throughout that 7 years and still love the person from the person you were to the person you are now, then maybe that one's a keeper.
oh, hold on, Zach. Are you trying to say that we are now back in the honeymoon period? That this is somebody that's new?
No, not at all. I'm just saying it's interesting that Josh waited about 7 years to get married while he and Dixie were together, and here are you and your lady about 7 years, and now you're getting married.
And then he goes off about the new person thing. See, now I'm getting scared.
It's a good stance to go at it with. No, I'm just kidding, man.
All right, well then I guess
We
that's just
have
going to bring us to
Nico, sir.
one last person. The lady of the hour. The matron of the solar return. Karen. You may know her as Karen B on YouTube. Sorry there. Karen, how are you, my dear?
Karen!
Man, the things you can pull off, it's amazing. It's amazing how well you can keep an event organized and put together. But if I weren't wearing headphones, it would be a literal hats off to you, but proverbial hats off to you, because that was an amazing event from what I could see from the live stream.
Well, thank you. It went really well. I think everybody had a great time. I had fun. And everybody was saying they wanted to do it again. So that sounds like a success to me. So yeah, we had a great time. Mask free, y'all. Mask free. Hugs.
No, you don't know how big it is, though, Karen. You've put on 2 of these now with, over what? Probably 600-700 people all together, both of them combined. And now there was alcohol involved.
Yeah.
And not one punch was ever thrown.
No.
That's amazing to me. I've never been to events with hundreds of people where there was alcohol, even family reunions, and where there wasn't a punch thrown.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But you have good family reunions then,
Oh,
Zach.
yeah, they're great. You always know
Best kind.
these 2 brothers, they've both been married to the same woman, and one of them is remarried to her again. And every time.
Oof.
Every time. Yeah. Fun stuff. Yeah, they're on the other side of the family though. They're those are the minors. But no, that was one of the most amazing things. Is that all those people there, not everybody was drinking or anything, but some people were consuming alcohol, and some people had a really good time consuming alcohol. And still, there was no,
No.
not even an argument. It was beautiful.
Right. Everybody gets along so great. Always, everybody's just so happy to be around each other. That's why the venue, they like us so much. Because they're like, everybody's so nice. Y'all are so nice.
Did you have much
mention it
cleaning up
again?
to do?
I'm sorry?
Did you have much cleaning up to do? Or were they neat and
No.
tidy, these flat earthers?
No, it wasn't too bad. I mean, really, no. It's not. They don't make a huge mess for the most part. People put their garbage in the garbage cans and they help throw the trash out, and it's a great thing. Everybody just wants it to go well because they're just so happy to be out and around each other and together and not be hassled.
And the other thing, Lucas, is like this is on Carolina soil too, and everybody from Carolina considered it home ground. And so if you were from Carolina, you were pretty much, looking around for trash and doing things to help people and host and make them feel right at home. So there's really this Carolina crew that was really picking up. And, if anybody did leave a mess, they were looking to make sure nothing like that happened. It's something really special about the area here and the people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of locals here that help during these events. There's a lot of them that are regulars, like Dr. Law and Tommy, that flat fellow, and a bunch of others. There's a bunch of them. Eric Lanier always is very helpful at the events. I mean, it's great.
So
they're just always there.
Nathan, commercial sound and video.
Yes,
Right.
Nathan, commercial sound and video, who is, he does, yeah.
So
the events wouldn't go on without him, that's for sure.
Have you had any converts out of the group that wasn't before, that you guys exposed some of the people there, at the venue to what goes down?
At the venue, like people that work there?
People that work there that have seen
Yeah, actually.
That's got to be happening. I mean, it can't not, can it?
Yeah, after Flattoberfest, the two ladies that run the bar, they loved us so much because they got tipped very well. We took good care of them. And then, of course, they got flat smacked all night long. And they were like, I'm going to look into that. Y'all are just so nice. And it just makes a lot of sense. And it was just really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Seeds get planted. They get planted in the parks with the kids, even playing with the other kids and planting, the seeds and talking.
Wow, I never even thought of that. Oh, that's
just being,
hell yeah.
It just naturally plants, and it's very organic. Now everywhere I go into the markets and different places like that, if I wear flat earth, something that's identifiable as flat earth, people come up to me, not because they know who I am. And what's remarkable is the amount of people that don't watch YouTube, but it's grown with the people that have watched YouTube, have shared it orally with other people that are not. That it's grown organically, and it's really out there. And there's a lot of people that recognize it. And again, I love it. There's a lot of people that recognize Flat Earth and have no idea who Globebusters are, have no idea who Mark Sargent, Eric Dubay, or any of these people are, but they understand what Flat Earth is because somebody mentioned it to them. They looked into and started studying either their Bible or, again, discussing it. So it's very, very, again, it seems out there in a lot of different ways. Or they heard somebody on a radio station, Josh Corey, again, just the reaching out. It's outside of our echo chambers. It's so important. Reach out and touch someone.
Well, Zach hit it home again that every time this happens, he meets up with a lot of folks that listen in to our meager broadcast here and on TFR and stuff that aren't in the chat, that don't have a YouTube channel, so they can't even get in chat, don't even know there's a chat to get in. They've never formed a YouTube channel. There's a lot of folks out there that watch things and listen to things and aren't part of the chats that are there.
Yeah, they'll just listen to TFR, but they don't.
We love you guys and appreciate it all across the board. So I'm sure that's magnified through everybody on this panel's, channel.
Tommy, that flat fellow who Zach so lovingly says is the flat tapper, not the flat smacker.
He has
at the flea market, they have a joyful booth that there's good food. You smell the food, you smell the drinks. Everybody is in a good mood and laughing. So you attract people. Just at the flea market there, you have to see what's going on in a place that's having fun, right? They come there and he's got anybody that, it's just a friendly answering questions and loves and hugging. The environment is like a little miniature meetup. So people want to be in that environment. But he has iPads. He salvaged all of these iPads. And if they have a question about how the sun and moon works, he shows them. He has a whole iPad devoted to it. If they want to know how each step of the way, why space is fake, he's got it all lined up in fun interactive where they can touch the screens and play with things and eat while doing it. There's food available and have people around talking to answer any questions. That's touching hundreds every month, one-on-one, in such a loving way. I mean, there's children there. There's, again, it's excitement.
I love his first, like his line that he says, free information. That's all he says. Free information. Free information. We would like some free information. And that's it. And then if they start getting interested, he'll start talking to them about it a little bit. Just about how, we've been lied to about so many things, this and that. And we're just telling you to look into the shape of, your realm. Something along those lines. But yeah, he's just got a great way of doing it. So soft-spoken. People aren't put off instantly by it. Someone coming up and yelling at them, screaming in their face, the earth is flat. That puts off so many people doing it that way. Yeah, he's just got I love his approach. That's just me, though.
It's done with like good soft music in the background or a good background, the good food to smell, smells and drinks and people. It's done in an environment that you really want to be. You want to be at Tommy's booth when you're there because it feels good. Like it felt good at the park to be at the meetup. It doesn't just feel good for flat earthers. It feels good for anybody that's been isolated to feel the warmth and the energy around it. It's attractive. He talks to a lot of people quietly. Without like any noise. And there's so many people out there doing it, our unspoken heroes. Thank you, all of you.
And thank you, Cammie, because you are the mother force over there. I feel that every time I watch the interaction going on the videos. That's some great energy you have put together in that home.
So I know you were super duper busy, Karen, throughout the whole weekend, but what was your favorite part? I only think I got to see you let your hair down once the whole time, kind of.
Yeah, only really towards the end there.
Yeah.
I thought she was doing karaoke.
That was Friday. That was the day before.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was fun. I mean, the park was fun. Friday was fun hanging out with everybody. I don't know, man. The whole thing. I think I really enjoyed. I think one of my favorites was Chief Crow. Watching Chief Crow play.
Me too.
So enjoyed what little bit I've watched so far of the feeds that had him in it. It's got me over there. Actually, I have his channel up over here on the other side. I was watching it earlier. One of his live feeds there. I love this stuff, man. I'm so hooked. I would love to see him live.
Yeah. Look for me on stage dancing like a wild woman to all of his stuff.
I can't wait. I'm gonna dig deep.
I want to give a quick shout out to Benjamin and Christy Balderson driving in the car. See you
Absolutely.
There. What's up, Benjamin? Much love, brother.
Absolutely, friend. And Miss Friend. And everybody there in chat, not to exclude anyone. Definitely not. Glad you guys are there. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, I got to get in there eventually. I haven't even looked at chat yet.
So,
thank you.
Of you guys playing around with the things you had toy-wise, Zach and Cammie, what was the biggest reaction you got, you think? Like, what was the biggest aha moment?
For me, it's still the gyro. The gyro, Hanon adults, the gyroscope is my favorite part. watching their face light up like a child again is just, and I was even telling adults this, I'd tell them, I'd be like, have you ever felt the gyroscope? They're like, no. It's like, oh, great. This is my favorite part. And I get a smile on my face and they're looking at me like, what are you going to do? And it takes, 60 to 90 seconds to speed the motor up to get it going. So I have 60 seconds to just sit there and talk to them. And I explain what it is with the, airplane and what it does. And then I tell them, this is my favorite part of these displays that we do because I get to watch your face change into a child's face again. Your eyes are going to light up, your jaw is going to drop, and you're going to get a big grin on your face, and you're going to go, whoa. And even telling them, I knew some people were like trying to hold it back. And as soon as I handed it to them, there was that, at least that big smile on their face because they were like, damn, he was right. This is wild. Yeah, so that was that's always my favorite part, is watching their faces just light up when they feel that thing.
Nice.
That is exactly right. It's watching them turn into children. And how I would start it, I did learn a pattern that works really well with people because the children can start anywhere. They pick up the magnets and hold it on the screens. And I mean, they're in touch with it. The adults are much more guarded. They're looking for trickery. And what I did at Solar Return this year is going to be something that I'm going to always do is those little Polaroid filters? I ordered them in 5x7 sizes. So what you can do is I can hold one up in front of my entire face. They can hold one up in front of their face. And when they twist it, I can explain what Faraday effect is. But where they go gaga is when I stick the other filter between it and they see my face again and they say, no fucking way! Excuse my language. But that's where they light up. How did that happen? Where they're seeing it inches away happening in front of them, something impossible happening in front of them. And then we pull out the miroscope and the holograms, touching the holograms, they light up, they go to a full, they were doing it especially to adding where that layer of glass onto. I can send you a 15-second video of one of the things that got him good.
Yeah, do.
Let me pop. I'm going to put it in the Skype one because I have it in a 15-second one. Is Walt, you want me to put it in Iron Realm Room?
You can just throw it right here in this same Zoom.
I don't know. I can't do that.
I didn't know.
I'm on a different piece. Okay.
Whatever you're easiest doing, I'll find it wherever you tell me.
Okay. Somebody talk a minute while I go and get this. It'll take me about 5 seconds.
So I'm sure while you're there, Bob, you are inundated with folks looking to touch and, cans and get to meet Bob. How is it with that energy just all week long? Because it's gone way more than the weekend, I know. Because, I mean, dude, your channel's huge. You know this. So, did we lose Bob? Has Bob muted himself again?
We have lost Bob.
We have Bob.
Where has Bob gone?
Bob, come in. Earth the Bob. Bobo.
I did send you that 15-second video in the Iron Realm Skype pre-show.
Trying to get Bob,
and I'll
get to the video.
And while he's doing the video, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and this is what I let people do hands-on to, give you a feel of what they're seeing and what they're doing hands-on. What you're holding is you're holding two Polaroid, or actually I'm using the back screen as a Polaroid filter. So you have one little Polaroid filter that polarizes light, lineates it so you see things different. And in between is a piece of glass, and this one's from a picture frame. You can tell it's nothing special. It's just glass from a picture frame. And what we did is we took cellophane tape, packing tape, and Chris Van Maitre did this. The one who did this, he's our artist on putting the pieces of tape. He just put them on the glass in a pattern in different directions, and he put it around all the edges so we wouldn't cut ourselves on the glass because it was kind of sharp. But it's going to show you how polarity can affect. There is nothing that we're showing you that has any color in it at all, but we're going to bring out the colors.
Do you need me to share the sound as well, or are you just going to narrate?
I can narrate or on the share. Also, I'm going to say on there is, are you guys seeing the colors? This is really short.
I'll let you do it. Hang on one second.
And let me switch so I'm watching what we're watching because I'm just
Josh,
watching.
are you ready to show my screen, or is it easier for you to do it? I just thought, hell, I'm jumping all onto the chair.
Nope, that's great. You get it handled. I can.
And I'm sorry to do this, but this gives people a feel of what Zach said was a feel that you get in your hands. This is a visual of what people were doing in their.
Uh-oh, it looks like it
Okay.
Not ready. So we're going to catch a bit of it, and then we'll play it again. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I still have the sound on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nothing in my hand has any color in it. I'm bringing the color just strictly through polarized light. So you
I'll
can play it again and loop it.
Yeah,
Yep.
here we go. I'm gonna
So
try.
see how it's clear? See how the filter is clear? All these pieces is clear. The colors are only being brought up.
No, that's wild.
And people get to hold. It's different even when you get to hold all of these clear pieces in your hand and you
See,
spin it.
I've played with polarization and done the line intersection thing, but I've never seen the color thing like that. That's crazy.
Okay, the color
I'll play
thing
it once
too.
more.
Yeah, this is with Scotch tape. And again, it's a very simple thing. You can also do it by taking a clear glass in your kitchen. Are you ready for this, Walt? Take a clear glass in your kitchen. Put sugar water in it. Sugar is polarized. So mix sugar water, stir it up into warm water, right? Then put it on a polarized screen. So your computer screen is usually polarized. You can check that by turning polarized glasses and turning it sideways. You can do this with a pair of sunglasses and a computer screen. Some cell phone screens are polarized, some are quarter polarized, and some are not polarized at all. You have to test it with a pair of polarized glasses or a polarized filter. If it's totally polarized, you'll get the screen to entirely black out, like we're going to do on the video coming up, where it just completely crosses over and you lose everything and it goes to black. If it's quarter polarized, you'll see your screen as you turn the filter around it. It will change different like colors like this did lately. And if it's not polarized at all, you just won't get any reaction from it. So you have like different possibilities that you can get, but your computer screen that you're looking at on when you have a tower and a monitor or on a laptop, those are almost always fully polarized. So if you just turn that screen to white and you can set a glass or something on that screen, that can be your backlight. That can be one of your polarized filters. You put this in between it, and then your sunglasses can be your other polarized filter. If you look through and spin your head, you'll see that the sugar water will turn colors one by one. It will go through the rainbow, violet, indigo, blue, aqua, green. You know, in other words, you can get it to do the full rainbow spectrum
Right.
in
Don't
order.
seem like this is an experiment I remember doing in the whole like growing up, you know, kitchen experiments with like drops of milk, slowly adding those to water, and it would do the same thing. It would like almost
Right.
replicate the rainbow or like a sunset or
Yes.
something like that. It was doing something that the sky would do. I can't. It's been too many years ago now.
Natural solids,
But it
be it
seems-
from a cow or from like again crystals, anything natural has a lot of properties to it that we're not taught to look at. But again, sugar and salt, these are crystals. This is going to happen. Sugar is going to polarize light. I don't think salt will. I'd have to check it, but I know sugar does. Some things will, some things don't. How they react to things are what you would call the properties of the stones, and the properties are how you identify and tell when two things when they look alike. How do you tell them apart? Well, they handle
So
electricity
would
different.
salt not being? That's what I was going to ask. Would salt not doing it have something to do with its different electrical?
It would have something to do with. I know salt is in the cubic, grows in the cubic habit. So
Shape, yeah.
it doesn't tend to have. It has more of a mirroring effect than some of the other effects you'll get. I would have to look into it more. I don't know off of the hand, but just knowing the structure it grows in lends me to wonder if it's going to have it, you know, to look a little bit further, unless it's got it anomalously, which can happen too. But I would have to look into it. Again, these are ways that you would identify something that you can wipe out 50% of the field if it has this effect and not the other. Or, you know, again, when you're trying to say, what am I looking at? When people try to figure out what they're looking at with rocks and minerals, it's not what am I looking at? You have to roll out what you're not looking at and work yourself up to, you roll out all the other possibilities until what you're left with is the truth. So This is just plain a lot of rocks display, rocks and crystals, these effects you see every day looking at them. You'll see you can make lines jump. That was the other thing where I was making on a grid by looking through a crystal and looking at lines on the grid. You could see the line in one place, and as I switched the polarity, the lines would jump movably, and people were doing that themselves. It was making them say, wow, this is happening all around me. That's what I liked about the conference, or the ahas. I overtalked. I'm tired and talking too much.
Never, lady. You never, never, never. I'm glad you're sharing that with us. Definitely, the aha moment is the key to this whole thing. That's when that seed gets planted deep. And bringing them back to being a kid again. I mean, yeah. Sorry,
somebody else's turn to talk.
I was actually playing catch up in the chat.
Children are so smart. I got so many cool ideas for there's. Have you ever tried this? Have you ever? It's like no.
Well, of course, that's
never did that. Jeez, that's just
total
they're
connection.
amazing.
Total connection to source and unfiltered. That's a lot of the best ideas.
Here,
my granddaughter came up to me the other day and she was all excited because she was like, "Do you hear that?" And I'm like, "I'm listening. What is it?" She said, "Yep, see, my ear sight is better than yours." And I'm like, "Yes, it is, little girl. It is. What are you hearing?" She says, "I hear like a little ringing sound, like a bell, but it's really high pitched." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I hear that all the time too." But yeah, that was nice. The ear sight. I'm like, there we go. Different way of looking at the world.
My ear sight is better than yours. I love that. But
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was actually talking to someone here that walked by me and didn't realize.
We need. I mean, Karen can't do it all over the country. We need some people to start trying this other places. I'm sure if you asked real nice and super sweet, Karen might give you some pointers. And, there's all kinds of people that would help promote something like this. So it's really just taking the time, and it does take a lot of time, I'm sure. But yeah.
Well, is the key, Karen, more of a finding the right people so everybody's working together? Is it a just you guys are lucked out that you have that place that's made it easy with the not so crazy with the mask, not so crazy with I guess cost. I don't know about the cost thing. That's never really been something you've discussed a lot, but I mean, I know none of this is free, so it's got to be a factor. So I mean, I know a lot of people in the years we've all been doing this have had smaller ones here, bigger ones there. Some have completely gone away. Some have grown, like yours has amazingly. What's the starting point for this for people that want to get one in their area?
Well, if you want to the scale that I'm doing it, you have to have a little bit of money to put up to book the venue and book travel for people that you want to be there and anything else, that you may need, because you might need to make t-shirts, or you might, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then of course, website, and then promotions, videos, that sort of thing, all the social media stuff, because I mean, I do a lot of that stuff myself because I don't have a big budget for advertising, so I do it myself, and I'll be like up till like 3 or 4 in the morning making videos because I got to get it out. I'm like, there's got to be X amount of days left and I got to do it now, so it can be very stressful. Very stressful, and it takes you're working on it for months, not consistently, but you're working on it a few times a week over the months, getting stuff done, in addition to whatever else you do in your life, you know. So I mean, it's a big responsibility. So just think about how much time you want to invest in being responsible for something like this, because it is a big responsibility. I do it because, well, this is my life. You know, this is what I do. It's like, you know, I can't really go do anything else. You know, I've already exposed myself. I'm all over the internet. Anybody could search me up and find out everything that I've ever said. You know, and so I don't really I do it because I can't really depend on a normal, you know, type of job, and I really don't want to. I'm not fit for that. I never was, even before all this happened. So, you know, and it's not the only thing I do. You know, I got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the art stuff that you're always doing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I've been taking classes, you know, on the side, just trying to learn, just to, you know, expand my own knowledge base as far
Man, I
as
completely that's gone. I completely forgot you were doing those classes, and as soon as you said that, it was like, oh, that's right. Karen's learning some secret powers, man. I'm excited for you. I am. I am super excited for what you're doing.
yeah.
Karen is in every single direction and all ends. And the other thing that people don't consider, and we're blessed with Karen, I don't know if anybody knows how unfriendly they've made it with the pandemic. It used to be that when you'd hold an event, people would buy a ticket, you would get the money. Right now with COVID, they have holds on it that they will not let you touch anything until 3 days after the event in case it gets canceled. So I mean, she puts her heart, her soul, her risk and risks everything every time she does this. And I don't know if we thank her or give her enough heart or love for. I know in the background, some of the things that you'll never hear her talk about or complain about or even do it. I mean, she takes that leap of faith. So when you talk about other people, what you need is you need true faith like Karen to make it happen. And you have to take that leap and be willing to give everything you have to make it happen. And that's what she does. She's fearless. I
Well,
love you, Karen. I
Oh,
love
I
you so
love you too.
much.
right?
I love you too.
I know she's got some super strength to her. Early on, when we met Karen, when she came on our show and we got to know her, we kind of like had that whole Sasquatch link real quick, and I jokingly started calling her my Squatch sis because of that strength. I knew immediately before her first event, before her first real powerhouse push on videos, that was just coming out of Karen, you know. So yeah, thank you, Karen, for what you've done and what you continue to do. And this thing is growing. And yeah, truly, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I'm just happy to be here, honestly. Just happy to be here and happy to be
Enjoying
lucky
the
enough
ride.
to have all the right people around me to help make it happen. You know, because I don't do it all myself. I do a lot, but I definitely don't do it all myself. So, yeah.
So it truly is the perfect storm. It has to really form, and it has. Definitely.
Yeah, like Nathan, the man that helps me, you know, he takes care of all the sound, all the audio for these events, which is a huge part of it. Like, you know, it's just as important as all the other stuff that I just mentioned, because, you know, none of it matters if when you get to the event, it's you nobody can hear anything, or the sound is awful, or, you know, if they're, you know what I mean? So
I know too well.
he makes the event actually enjoyable. You know, he puts a lot of work in, and he makes sure
And
that
it's
everybody can
been
be heard.
great.
You
Yeah,
know,
he
Yeah, that
has
setup
done an
looked grouse.
amazing job. I'm sorry, but not to, bust anybody's balls, but your two events have had like 1/10 the audio visual problems that the FEIC was going through like every event. There were so many audio hiccups and snafus, and like when these fests that you've been having, we're not seeing any of that stuff. It's weird. I mean, they're paying a lot of money for their audio and visuals for these big events that were being held, the
Mhm.
FEICs, but there was a lot of mistakes that were taking place. a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, for the amount of money that it costs to put something like that on, it should never have been so problematic at those events.
Yeah, I thought, with you having, mostly people just donating their time, that there would be more mistakes, but there wasn't. I mean, they do really good work. Nathan he knows what he's doing up there.
Yeah. I mean, for events this size, it's thousands. Even to put it on where I put it on. I didn't use a big hotel. I try to keep the costs down, but even doing it that way, it costs thousands of dollars to put on an event like this. Yeah, thousands.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it just depends how there's a base price for stuff that you need, like video, like audio, video, travel, blah blah blah, the venue. And then, outside of that, then it can go up from there depending on how much bells and whistles you want to put on it. But I mean, you are looking at probably a minimum of like $5,000
Mhm.
minimum. And I think that's bare bones.
Yeah. But you can put on a good event with that, especially when you have the community helping out like it does.
Mhm.
Yeah, getting to know the people in your community is so important. The flat earthers around you and their skills and what they can bring to the table and all that kind of stuff. It makes it so much easier to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
But yeah, there
Yeah.
needs to be more people doing it.
It can be done. Right now, probably the most difficult part is finding the venue. Finding the venue that has the right location. That's going to be your most difficult part. Finding a venue that will not enforce the mask thing, and it has to be in a state. Maybe you need to have it in a state that doesn't have a mask mandate. Although even though they don't have a mandate, a lot of places are still enforcing it. So you got to find a place that won't do that, and then find a place that's easy to get to from multiple areas. Something centrally located, something with good hotels nearby it. I mean, that's where you got to start if you want to do something like this, or even look up different hotels in your area that have event rooms, how much they cost. Although hotels, they tend to be pretty expensive. So,
Real quick before we get too far off, I dropped a link in this chat here to see, is that the right commercial sound and video? I don't want to share it into the chat overall. If I'm getting the wrong link, I just did a quick and dirty search there, Karen.
yes, that's the right one.
I'll share that for everybody there, and we'll drop it in the show description too. Give them as much little push as we can here.
Yeah, Nathan's just a great guy. He really is. I saw him running back and forth to the stage a couple times, just flat out sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
Something, yeah, I love these people. All out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, he's very professional.
Baldini and John and the coffee, and I mean all of the help with everybody with T-shirts and so much help everywhere.
Scooter bringing the silk screen machine. People could make their own T-shirts, their solar return T-shirt. That was awesome.
I loved that. I wish I had thought to bring some of my own clothing items from home, so I could have had custom silk screen printed old stuff.
So cool. And people were able to do a one-off. If you wanted a saying on a T-shirt, he made it for you. You got to make it yourself, actually. He showed you how to make it yourself. It was the coolest ever. I made my own solar return shirt. I silk screened the 4 colors, and I've never done it before. It was wonderful. Again, the tactile, getting to touch and feel everything in the exhibits and all the artwork and the music and the dancing, and it was a festival.
Yeah, man. That's
yeah.
Because it's like that's the type of stuff I used to go to when I was growing up with my mom. We'd go to like art and wine festivals, and there'd be live music and art, and it was just cool, and everybody was just hanging out and having a good time, and that just doesn't really seem to happen anymore. Well, especially now.
Yeah.
But and I just missed that, and I wanted something like that for this community, because it shouldn't always be about being lectured at, especially because a lot of us do a lot of research on our own time anyway. I think I just thought it would be cool if we could all just get together and just talk and hang out and enjoy the creative side of everybody, because people are so talented and creative in this community. I mean, you saw all the talented musicians that were there. I mean, it was amazing. And there was a lot of artists too. It wasn't just me.
The
There was
artists.
Watson was there, and then like FEMA Region 4. If you've seen him in the chat, he was there.
Nemo and his wife
Yeah, Nemo and his
bringing
wife.
some
Yeah,
cool art. Yeah.
yeah. So quite a few people brought their art there. It was really cool.
There was fluorescent lighting art there. I mean, it was fabulous. They were doing.
Oh yeah, that was
Oh,
Jack and Carolyn. The chroma something or other. I can't remember what they call
so
it.
cool.
Yeah.
If I had come, I would have been just busking out the front, sit there, little amp, looping
I think
things.
there was a guy there sitting outside with an amp and an electric guitar, just jamming on
Yeah,
the steps.
sweet.
Yeah.
I remember there's one in like Melbourne. He has a bass and he's just like rocking out on the bass, and it's like, I think it was dressed up as like a bunny or something. I mean, that's funny. That's what you need. Bass players dressed up.
We missed
busking.
you here so much, Lucas. You needed to be there playing.
No, you don't need me coming there talking smack.
Oh yeah, yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think people there would love it, actually. They love it. The more people that are there, the more people, everybody has fun. Because everybody just bounces around, talking to everybody.
Yeah, it's like a nonstop. It almost needs to be like a week-long thing, because you don't have, the bigger these things get, the more people you start meeting again, and for the second, third, fourth time. And it's like you have to stop and talk to them. And now there's so many of these people that, it's like family. It really is. These people, you get to see them a couple times a year, more than regular family. And you actually want to see all these people. So it's better than the family reunion that you want to go to. It just, it needs to be longer almost. I don't know if my body can take longer though.
Zach, we just had a week-long event,
I was
and
going to say, y'all have
yeah,
away from the event, don't you already? So yeah. Well, something you said about wanting it to be more relaxed and more creative atmosphere, more friendly, more relaxed. I like that. And then the idea that, again, Flattoberfest will come back around again, and there'll be speakers and more presentations, and it'll be more of a, people who may be newer and haven't seen the 1,000 videos we've all watched and don't personally know Bob and have heard the things he said and all the things that are possible that they could get to, finally see at an event like that. So yeah, having both sides of that coin, I think, is an amazing just double kill, man. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really want to go to Montana now.
What's happening in Montana?
In Montana, thank you. What's over there?
There's a lake there. It's the biggest lake that isn't man-made west of the Mississippi. It's 37 miles long, 16 miles wide, and has a 120-foot sheer drop off an extended ledged cliff down to the edge of the lake.
Zach's thinking about dropping his magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Another guy gave me a good idea about hot air balloons, not knowing the exact height, but just getting it up there, 100 plus feet. And as long as they drop from the same exact elevation, I don't know. I got a bunch of good ideas from people.
Zach, have you seen the videos what happened when you drop things from the Hoover Dam?
I don't
that back
Oh,
Oh, the circle, how it
where it comes back up around.
it comes
again
all
on
right back
those.
at you. It's like a boomerang.
Yeah,
You can
that's
get
kinda
vortexes in these drops if you have a solid wall going alongside
And have you
the.
seen where people do that spin of a ball, which creates its own weird
Yeah.
vortex thing? Off of that, it even amplifies that effect. It's like nuts.
It's like crazy. You can like again toss a basketball up and it flies. It's again you can pull it up. It's pretty easy. The Hoover Dam throwing off of it. There's a million videos, literally with millions of views on them. One of the little anti-gravity effects that you can go out and play with yourself, and they say it's a vortex and the wind shooting up that carries everything that you tried to push down back up. But it's amazing. Nature's, or everything's amazing. Actually, I'm in that state of mind.
God, I just keep hearing Chief Crow in my head. Everybody's gone totally retarded.
I'm glad that a lot of new people got exposed to Chief Crow. There were a lot of people who didn't know who he was.
And I have heard a bunch of his songs. I just never knew who it was. And his voice has such a range.
Yeah.
You hear him singing nice and sweet like this, and
Mm-hmm.
space is fake. And then it's doing the.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this guy's amazing.
Mask of the Beast, Mask of the Beast.
Faceless cuck, another NPC. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, man.
Bam, 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 bam.
So how are your therapies going, Karen?
My what?
Your therapies. Didn't you get some magnetic therapy licenses going on and doing some treatments and stuff like that there, or at least some practicing?
Well, I've got I finished my biomagnetism classes, but with the event, I really haven't got that much time to practice yet. I practiced a little bit on TED. And then I found out that I was trying to do it having him just lay on the bed, but really I just needed a massage table. I needed to actually get a massage table because I realized how much easier it makes to treat people. So I finally just got my table like the other day. But it will also help with the crystal healing too, because both of those things will use the table.
Oh,
so
yeah.
now that I have that, I can actually put someone on the table and then practice properly.
Have magnets will travel.
Yes.
We were thinking about something, Karen, about like if we do the outside event again the day before, set up a little spot where people can make their own bismuth thing. Not so much the crystals, but just taking a little bit of bismuth and putting it in some kind of bowl and swirling. You just swirl it around a little bit, and it creates all the different colors, the pinks and the blues and the golds, and they're all shiny. And if you do it just right, you can kind of get crystals to start forming in the bottom. I've been playing around with it. I just keep remelting it. Yeah, it's fun. I'll show it to you. But I was thinking it would have to be like behind something. They'd have to be holding a stick to wiggle. I don't know. But I think they would like something like that.
Yeah.
But it is kind of dangerous playing with liquid metal.
It is a little dangerous. Don't drink while you're doing it.
No, definitely not. Don't drink the liquid bismuth either. Yeah, I got some on my hand finally. I finally have
Unless it's
been
pink.
initiated into the Smelters Guild of Scars.
Oh, how'd that one feel, Zach?
You were right there, so it wasn't too bad.
You didn't scream. Is it
you didn't notice. I just said, "Ooh, wow, that's hot."
Oh, it was the same batch that went on the towel, though, at the bottom that I peeled off the towel. Yeah, I know when it scattered because I was like, wow, this is cool. I played with it when it was still hot and got the towel impression. So it didn't melt through a terry cloth or, a cotton towel. It got the imprint on it and you pulled through. So it was hot, but not, bismuth has got a very low melting temperature.
Yeah, less than lead.
less than lead, so it's not, it could have been so much worse had we been playing with, titanium or platinum.
And
Platinum would eat through the, yeah.
I smelted that lead that who brought that over to the house from Karen's? Said they found it.
Carrie, remember the one that I thought was maybe a seed fossilized, and we were discussing if it was that or lead shot, and I said, we're melting this. He melted it and made coins out of it. It's really cool. I picked it up. It looked like a fossilized seed or a nut, like an acorn. It had like petals in it. I think it was a round off of a shotgun because it was lead and a slug. But it was really pretty and it melted really
quick.
Really quick. And it made a nice coin.
I want to get some of your thoughts on the two sons, Bob or Cammy.
I just saw Bob. Let me see if I can get headphones back on him.
Did you see that video, Karen? The two sons?
Yeah, she's just stepped out for a second, I think. Yeah, I definitely want to get your...
Yeah, it was amazing, Lucas.
Get your perspective on it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think. I know that the first time I saw it, Crow had just photographed it, and then Chris Van Maitre caught it, and I guess Chris has caught it also in Texas and here. And initially I was thinking, well, what I think it must be is some sort of a camera operation, but ever since Chris came down here and he said, no, what's happening is in Colorado, it was in one position. In Texas, it's another. South Carolina, it's clearly different positions. And that tells me that that's not an aberration. And whatever it is, it's a very real phenomenon. And that kind of takes me back to David Weiss's demonstration of seeing kind of something being broadcast, the light from behind our visible source, and having then a focal point that visibly manifests in a completely different location. And now I'm beginning to think that's actually what our sun is. So I don't think it's necessarily two suns. We're just seeing the visible part of it, and then we're seeing the actual source part of it through some wizardry, messing around with polarity. Crazy.
Okay.
So
it's really a trip. It's a trip seeing it when Chris has his what is it, the H Alpha telescope that he's got that thing hooked up to?
Yeah, the Hydrogen Alpha. Yeah.
Hydrogen Alpha. Yeah. And then you put the Polaroid in front of it and you watch it just fade out. Oh, that's such a trip. Blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what this means to me, for anybody following my geeky model, is anybody looking at this? I've been looking at the concept of the sun and moon being Rahu and Ketu inside the firmament, which would be an actual vault of looking glass that would function like a miroscope. So you'll have to go to my channel if you want to learn more, but that what we're seeing is a hologram. And if that's true, that means that there's going to be a source item that we're, not picking up, but the source item is going to have the physical properties that we're not getting from the sun, like polarized light. So this is, and different effects that you would get from polarity. When we picked this up, the second sun was amazing. And again, the aberration. But what happened here is we crossed Polaroid. We used a single filter and rotated it and got a complete Faraday effect. What that means, or what that denotes physicality. That denotes a magnetic field produced by an electromagnetic. It's the Faraday effect is what it is. It's the complete Faraday effect, but it's a physicality. We do not get this from our own sun, which they show that the sun that we look at is magnetic. Sunspots are magnetic, and yet it doesn't polarize light. Supposedly, it should. But it doesn't
recreate this. I cannot recreate you know, a light reflecting off something and then being able to polarize either of the lights really
Yeah, you're
without
not.
putting a Polaroid screen up in front of it.
The only way you're going to be able to recreate it is with an electromagnetic field. Like I said, you can get it with the eddy currents or the different things and get a mild field, but for a full Faraday, you need to set up electromagnets, get the field, and then have a light, like a match in that field and watch them cross over, the fields cross over. That's what the Faraday effect is it's the magnetic fields. Magnetic fields polarize light. It simply means they only let it through in straight lines. And two polarized light fields crossing at right angles are going to block out 100% of the light and you get full light extinction. Well, we only had one filter down here. Something there was polarizing light. In order for just a single object to get extincted out, like it did with the Polaroid filter, the other
So that
sun did not
almost-
get extincted out. Nothing else changed. It was just local to that. It's a physical property.
Well, it's almost like there is the magnetic field that we have around Earth, and this light source, whatever it is outside of that magnetic field.
Right. And it's reacting, it's polarized and reacting. Again, it's reacting like a physical, that's a physicality to react.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's literally just out of phase, for our big visual spectrum. So that almost tells me that the source, I mean, it inevitably takes you back to the sun being a model inside of a firmament, but the sun that we see inside the firmament is actually broadcast to it from outside the firmament.
It's a projection.
It's a projection, and we
It's a
are
hologram.
we're literally, yeah. Well, I don't know if I would call it a hologram, but it's
Sure,
definitely
it is.
projection.
It's a 3D projection is nothing more than a projection is nothing in 3D is a hologram. It's a natural hologram, but that's what a hologram is a 3D.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's it seems to be just slightly out of phase from our visible spectrum. And the interesting thing is a lot of people are catching this even without hydrogen alpha filters. I mean, people are catching this effect all over the world when the conditions in the atmosphere are just right. We've all seen those pictures out there with the two suns. And what's happening is there is a natural effect going on in the atmosphere that is producing an effect very similar to that additional Polaroid, polarizing type of filter, and it's bringing that second sun, so to speak, even though it's the same sun, it's just the source sun, into our visible spectrum. It's remarkable. It really is.
And this is so easy for everybody that's got a camera. Order a Polaroid film from Amazon or whatever. It's very, very cheap, or get nice Polaroid filters. You do not need good material for this. When looking at where you have multiple suns and aberrations, rotate a Polaroid filter in front of your camera and see if it does anything. If they blink out, if one of the ones goes dark and light, that would be your physical object, where your ones that are not affected would be your images and your refractions. In other words, this right there gives you a test pattern on that. Does that make sense? Can somebody re-say what I just said, Karen? Anyone?
Sorry, I was letting
Okay.
the boys out.
So if it,
I was going to say, can you repeat it again, please?
Okay. When you're photographing and you're seeing multiple suns or multiple moons that you're picking up, what I want everybody to do is get a hold of a Polaroid filter, which again, you can order them from Amazon for $1. You can get lenses that go on your camera. I don't care. Hold sunglasses in front of your camera lens and rotate them if they're polarized. On the objects, if they go extinct, you have a physical item. If it's not going extinct, you probably have a mirror image or an aberration or a lens flare or something else going. But test all of those little things, because if you can get it to go extinct like we do on that, like they did looking at that second sun continually, that again that property will denote physicality. Everybody should be looking at it.
But it kind of, like you said there in the video, seemed to do exactly like what we see when an eclipse is occurring.
Exactly. And what it looks like, in case you wonder what it looks like when it goes extinct, when you rotate, and again, the trick is spinning the filter. Going extinct would be exactly what you experience on a solar eclipse. Exactly. That's the visual of it. That's what happens. That is the Faraday effect.
So when the eclipse was happening back in 2017, is that when it was? Anyway, the big one.
We were there.
It all was lots of stuff happening on YouTube, and we were all trying to figure this whole thing out. How would it work? How would it work? How would it work? And there were videos, or especially a couple I know. This guy took these videos while he was on a plane that was doing the eclipse shoots. And the eclipse planes, they have all the windows, the seats are not there. They get the windows set up for the camera mounts that are all bolted in, and high-tech cams are all looking at this stuff. But this guy's just videoing inside the plane, videoing the camera setups, and videoing through the window at what these big cameras are videoing. And when the eclipse occurs, not only does the eclipse happen, but all of a sudden around the sun, these other little tiny, almost orbs coalesce, if you will, and appear. And they're almost in the shape of the Dipper constellation. It reminded me of.
Exactly.
And someone took that video and dissected and showed that there were scratches on the plane window that were moving in relation to bumps and shit, and that those objects were not moving in relation to the plane's motion, and that it wasn't some kind of thing on the screen or on the lens.
Exactly, and it wasn't. Whatever it was real.
Right.
It was absolutely real. Hang on just a second, Cami. I mean, and I've actually covered this several times on Globebusters because we have more than just that footage.
Yep.
There's actually several different footages, and if you listen to the mythology between Rahu and Ketu, Rahu is the head that has been dismembered away from the rest of the serpent body of Ketu, right?
Yep.
And I think what that's saying, at least in my interpretation, is that these are essentially black body effects, and I don't know if I would call them entities, living entities, or anything like that, but something that we're actually seeing these polarizing effects, and the guy in the airplane just happened to catch them at a distance. Now, I think they know the position of these things, and I think they're probably in really close proximity to the sun a lot of the time. And then when the eclipse occurs, we're actually kind of seeing what's happening is the head of the serpent, Rahu, is kind of covering up or swallowing, if you will, the sun itself. And it's, of course, dismembered away from the body of the serpent. And so, yeah, I think that's what's going on. But Cami, go ahead. What's your theory? Oops.
Cami.
Oops, I'm back. Okay. It won't be a lot different than yours, except for I'm going to put a little bit of physicality, and I want you to visualize this. You understand the miroscope, right? Now you've seen it, and you see how things fluoresce as into our atmosphere, and that I've done that for people here. I want you to keep in mind, in nature, only less than 15% of the materials naturally can fluoresce. I believe if we have things that fluoresce that we're seeing as the sun and moon and things, there's probably other rocks or minerals up there that do not fluoresce in those bodies. With the veil thin and the lighting, you're seeing the other physical bodies with the lighting and the angle that you're getting during the eclipse and what's happening around it. I think that you're getting, due to, you're right, you're saying polarized light and the alignment of things, you're getting a glimpse of what's really there. Rahu would be the black sun, and that would be the real sun that you picked up in Chris's solar telescope. That would be physically Rahu that's holographing down as what we call the sun. And Ketu would be the real moon that's holographing down as what we call the moon. And again, when their fields up above cross over into our line of vision, it's making crossed magnetic fields, real magnetic fields, not just the lights that we're seeing. And that's where you're getting the eclipses. That's the way they line up with the nodes. So if you look at like Dave's sun and moon app and watch the sun and moon going around and where they are in position, and just give the sun and moon attributes of generating magnetic fields, their magnetic fields would cause the eclipse. And again, it would cause them in hologram for us down here, so you wouldn't have the real object. So it would be Rahu eating the sun because it's the field eating itself. Remember, miroscopes cross like that you see things when your eyes and they're flipped and turned over. That this happens in a miroscope. It cross images. So Rahu is getting eaten by itself. It's actually what you're seeing of Rahu is getting eaten. You would see it in a visual. Again, if you mirror image Rahu and Ketu, mirror image them down as the sun and the moon, you would see how Rahu would be eating the sun and the tail, and then any other things following it in a circle, maybe a spiral going around would be the tail. So what you're saying, I'm just saying put physical in the miroscope, and that's visually how you would appear it from below as a real object.
Yeah. So what?
Again, the real objects are going to have the polarize. They're going to polarize you. You'll get a reaction with the filters.
Right. So whatever's happening, we have, apparently a real object and then an operation that is being caused by an apparent shift in polarization. Now, whether that polarization is caused by an actual, black body of some kind up there, or a phase rotational differential of an electric current, an electrical eddy, which is an electrical Faraday effect, I don't know. But I think one thing is certain is that this confirms beyond any doubt whatsoever about the holographic nature of the sun. And chances are, I think by proxy, that there's a good chance the moon might be right in that, operating in that very same paradigm.
Well, I don't think it does actually. It's not 100% that it's holographic. Not at all.
Well, it depends on which one you're talking about. Projection, okay, because remember we have an apparent sun, and then we have what appears to be a real source behind it. Right. So which one?
Yeah, in infrared, that's for sure. So, but it doesn't mean that it's can be caused from refraction as well. So, and that's like that magnetic field, and that could be around a solid object as well. So, your plasmas will create this, your magnetic fields will create this. So it doesn't mean that it's projecting from
keep in
somewhere
mind,
outside the dome. And if
Lucas, I want you
there's
to
a sun outside the dome, what is how much more powerful is that sun outside? It has to be like in the range of 95% more powerful.
Well, the radiation would kill us.
Well, maybe that's why we're
behind. But no, that's why you go to the way I'm projecting it in. If you use mirrors to create a hologram, you can create a hologram by simply mirroring the image. And when you mirror the image, like you put an object between mirrors, the object picks up all of the properties. So if you put ice in this type of hologram emitter, the hologram is cold. Heat transfers, all of those transfer, but the magnetic properties don't transfer. I've been testing it. You would have to look at like a miroscope, pull up really quick, or understand what I'm doing. Anybody, if they pulled up the word miroscope and let him see what that projector is. When I'm talking hologram, I'm talking like a naturally occurring emitter. It's very confusing.
Find those videos you had made, we can share them. I still have
sure. Sure.
So speaking of videos, y'all remember when Danny Daytona put out the video of the 4 suns kind of going by in the clouds a couple of years ago?
4 suns?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
he
I
was
did.
out walking his dog. He's one of the guys like me, he pays attention to the sky a lot, and he saw it happening above him in the clouds. So he whipped his camera out and caught 4 suns, literally. They were spaced differently. They weren't equidistant, like some kind of camera aberration. They were pretty crazy.
And they were all in the visible spectrum?
He
saw them with his eyes?
Visibly. He didn't do any kind of camera filter. He just threw it up and captured it through those clouds. So that idea that he caught those 4 lined up, the idea of those shapes we saw in those eclipse videos kind of looking like the Dipper constellation. I wonder if Chris or Crow were to keep scanning the sky where they're getting those second suns, would they find a third, fourth, fifth, etc. if they were looking at a bigger.
That's a good question.
Like covering a bigger and had it maybe the pattern of the Dipper or something to kind of look, because I know it's a big sky naturally, but that would be something to see if they could find more.
Yeah, that's a good question, because honestly, when we have seen the operation of the second sun before, it's been in a dramatically different place. So yeah, that only makes you go, that's a possibility. I think that's a good idea.
I may have caught it or something like it years back. Actually, my first series of videos trying to figure all this out. I watched a bunch of stuff, watched you guys hanging out doing the ISS, and I'm like, okay, I've seen enough videos. I need to test it. So I headed out to the beach, set up a camera, videoed the sunset to see if it was really going away and down. And in the video I did first, seemed to be getting away and to the right and smaller in the distance. Well, someone on my comment said, no, that's lens flare. You need a filter. So on the second series of videos I did, I had a filter. Now, I think that video, it was actually some type of electronic filter. It wasn't technically me taping Mylar over the lens, which I did start doing eventually. Or it could have been, I don't remember. I really don't. But what I call
Mylar is quarter polarized, by the way.
Well, that may be what I was using here too. It's been a while. But when I set up my first setup, I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like it. So I filmed for like 3 or 4 seconds and picked the camera up, moved it over. And when I went back in to delete that little 3 seconds on my little limited amount of time I had on my memory back then, I saw something that made me keep the 3-second video. I'll show it to you guys real quick. Hang on. Oh, wait, I just thought, is Josh around?
Cool.
Oh, he'll be somewhere. Probably.
Hi, Josh.
Josh. Come in, Josh.
Yeah. And Walt, I also dropped another video in the chat of us playing with the Miroscope with ice.
Okay, I'll share that too. Here, 1 second. Okay, now before I even start playing it, let me get my pointer. It should take a second. You guys are going to see my mouse on the screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
See me. Okay. So what you're going to see in a second is this big red thing is a lens flare. And when I move the camera, it's going to take off. And this other little small bluer thing, which I just now realized, hell, that's actually the lens flare reflection of this thing inverted and backwards. And that's the red lens flare from the sun. Hell, I never figured that out. Anyway, so this little thing, the blue thing with that white oval around it, is going to do something really strange when I move the camera. But it's going to stay locked to the sun, unlike these 2 lens flares, which are not going to stay locked. They're going to move. And it's real quick, 3 seconds. I'll loop it. If it plays, what happens? As I said, the lens flares move. That thing does not. It stays right there next to the sun.
That's interesting.
And it was just like some kind of weird, almost like a glass ball filling with light and stuff as I moved my camera in relation to it and the sun. And I didn't know it was there until I was going to delete this video. And I kept it, thank goodness. Now I have a few videos, photographs of that day that were taken with I think a 70D or something like that, that were totally not picking that up. But that was here on this video for sure. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I don't know what they're saying on there, but yeah. All right, let me go find Candy's head. Hang on 1 second.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, how do I stop this thing? Give me a second. I'm going to stop sharing and come back in.
Very interesting.
Such a trip.
Skype, is that where it is, Cammy? I'm sorry, I'm playing catch up again. Oh,
yeah, I put it.
I got it.
Yeah.
So if the sun has a holographic nature to it, and everybody's heard the theories, of which I happen to be kind of I don't know if I'm a believer in it as much as I just can't dismiss it, but that the idea that our reality might be some sort of hologram. I just kind of look at this stuff and it's just like, that's just another piece of evidence that, you could throw at this. And it just makes me even more curious. What the hell are we living in?
I don't think that way, because I think in here I'm demonstrating how, like, again, if you grew stone through that in the firmament, the way that the creator creates the hologram is created naturally and is created. Again, it's just a visual. It's like, again, the arrow changing in through the water.
Well, yeah, because you're proposing something that is understood in the realm of holographics. Correct. Or at least natural holograms. I get that, but there could be more levels to this. Is all I'm saying, and I'm not saying I know for sure. It just makes me intrigued at the way this place is actually designed. It's interesting.
Fascinating.
It is
I mean,
fascinating.
this place is so much more interesting now that I know that what they told us about it is a lie. It's just so much more fascinating.
Yes, sports ball has no, is not even close. you
No,
know?
no.
Exactly. No competition whatsoever. I mean, everything else is just, well, it's just a distraction. That's all it is.
Finally
But
found my
then,
mute. I'm sorry. I did get the
oh,
video started. I apologize for interrupting. I was trying to find my mute button.
oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah, it just, I guess not everybody's like a bunch of nerds like we are, that we're actually looking at stuff like this. There's Minion. But yeah, it's just cool that, so many other people are actually interested in this instead of, who's scoring touchdowns for San Francisco or, whatever, which I used to be, but I don't really care about that anymore. How priorities change.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm going to talk through this in a minute. That Zach running it, what we have here, and you'll see us pull it apart and play with it. I don't know if you've already done it, is a child's toy. It's called a Mirroscope, and it's just two parabolic dishes filled with a mirror inside, a mirror-like surface. And a lot of them played with them as kids. It's where you put the little frog or the coin in, and it feels like it's floating above the surface. It's a natural hologram. What's amazing about this when you create a hologram this way is he's testing it right here. The hologram is we have a little piece of ice in there. It's the hologram that's cold. You'll watch me pick up the dish and we'll move things around in that and arrange it. It's going down with the hologram itself. See it jumping down to 50. It's when you get it, he'll show you around, and hitting the hologram will jump down 40 degrees. It will also transfer heat. It transfers a lot of waves. It's not transferring the magnetics that he's taking it there. We're going to drop it or even pull off the top and break it. That was too big, but you'll zoom in and he's going to show you the hologram of the ice and it reacting. So see it, it's just a mirrored dish. Now, the reason I'm looking at this design is in all of the cosmologies, there's an actual layer above us that's described. So biblically, they call it described as a vault of looking glass. You heard it as a shiny river, the Biford Bridge, the river you cross the night, to get to the other side when you're Egyptian. It's a fluid vault or a river that you go through that seems to have a lot of qualities to it. And if you did make it like out of mirrors, it projects a hologram, and the hologram it projects has a lot of really, really amazing qualities to it. And this will, again, he's going to watch the thermometer just jump down on it. This is Zach playing. He can take it from there on what it felt like to play it. You can put your finger in the hologram and the hologram feels cold. You're not taught. You're taught holograms are created by wires and they're a 3D projection. But again, if it's done simply and naturally, it has more function to it. And if you imagine making this out of something and giving it the quality of the noble metals like iridium and platinum and rhodium and all of these metals that were in it, it would be mirror-like and conduct heat, and the properties of it would be off the scale as far as its tolerance to heat, its way to reflect, its way to conduct. It would all of a sudden become quite powerful indeed.
Hey, Josh, just the FYI, I do not believe we are sharing this imagery that we're seeing with the live feed.
I see it on the live feed.
Oh,
Yeah,
you do? What am I?
We are.
Oh, that's so weird. I wonder why I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is.
I'm gonna put in another
My
picture.
bad.
I'm gonna put in another picture, and this is just a thing of things lighting up with UV. I'm gonna do a real short one to you. But again, when I'm talking about holograms, I'm talking about something more naturally created or something that's described as opposed to a random holographic universe. And I just wanted to get that clear. This is something that could be grown like rocks grow. It's crystalline.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
seeing the little diagram of how these miroscopes are, supposed to work, how it bounces the image of whatever around and up and down and back and through and out that hole, and we get the hologram in a reflective nature. So that idea we were talking about this morning too, the sun and what it could be and the different 2, 3, 4, whatever we've seen, and how, okay, if there's layers of electromagnetic, liquid in other states, whatever's going on. And we also were noticing how in Chris's video, the real sun versus the second sun, how the second sun was almost like a phased moon, kind of squished down on the top left side, almost like a phased moon. And wondering if the next one down, if it was there, would be even more squished, and how that would be something as far as the distance and the the thickness of the layers. And that reminded me again of one of those tabletop experiments where you take the candle and the 2 mirrors and you angle them at 90 degrees behind the candle, and now you see the 2 reflections. But if you take those and angle them again towards themselves again, now you get the reflection of the reflections of the candle, and now there's 4 candles being reflected. And if you do it again, you can hardly see it, but there's 8. And kind of like the thing when you're a kid sitting in the barbershop and seeing yourself going off into infinity in the mirrors. But
Into infinity. If your sky really has these qualities, we have a lot of possibilities out there. We have a whole lot. I have one more. Thank you on the favors. I dropped another short video that I did personally in the chat. It's only 23 seconds. I think you'll have to download it first. But I sent you just a itty bitty short one because of the fact that you would have to download it. And this is just showing playing with UV light and how it plays. The holograms play with light.
Hello.
No, this is what we love about IRM. We'll just sit here in complete dead silence.
I know, dead air. I'd be going, ah!
I'm like, is something wrong?
it's like chicken. We're doing chickens. Who's gonna say something first? All right, I'm ready.
Me.
I'm sorry.
I caved. It was me.
Yeah. All right.
If you were on panel, you know it's a comment to see, or like a challenge, a contest to see who can go the longest without
Right.
giving it.
All right,
We
can you
call
see
it
it, guys?
Creative Cesar.
It was playing a second ago.
Shout
I
out
think-
to
yeah.
John Savage,
Yeah, we see it, but it
the
isn't
creator
playing.
of the game.
Oh, here it goes.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's playing.
The phasing. Indeed. Shout out John Savage. Thank you, sir. Oh, that's awesome. How it's both, like it's reversed. You see it on the one side there and on the other side there. And
You can pick up the other image if you lift it and fluid and flow it.
Yeah.
So if we tried this with a nice high quality FLIR camera,
That whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Josh.
I was just wondering if we've tried this with a FLIR camera, a thermo imaging type thing.
Right.
Oh, definitely. Let's try it. This is just, I'm holding the little bitty UV light. I am not hitting inside. You see how I'm touching that little bitty pin light on the side of the dish there holding it?
So you're doing it on the hologram, not.
I'm doing it on the hologram. I am not
Okay, one
touching
more
the
play.
image.
I got to see it again now. Damn it.
Watch it over and over and watch where I'm holding an itty bitty pin light holding the dish. I'm going to make moon phases by bringing it up and down by doing this.
So that's.
And I'm only hitting the hologram. I'm only hitting the outside of it. This is impossible, but it's real. That's the hologram you're looking at. I am hitting only the hologram. See how the light is flashing up and I'm holding it, touching that black dish.
So we need a signed affidavit saying you're not shining that light down in the hole. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no, you're seeing a pin light. You're seeing where I'm holding it.
And the fact that it's reversed on the object in the bowl kind of goes into the whole bouncing reflection back in there thing.
Right. How cool is that? So I have millions of little things like that. But I mean, I've played with these. I've done temperatures. I spin them. I roll them. I put lenses. It propagates into lenses, into domes. Those little glass domes. It really propagates into them well.
One more time. Damn it.
Yeah. And again, what you're seeing is a mirage. You're only looking at a hologram.
This is a mirage.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
anybody can get these little dishes from like Amazon or anywhere. They're like, now they're raised the price. They used to be $6 or $7. Now they're like $9 to $11. They scratch up easy. They're cheap. They're made of plastic. I beat the hell out of mine and go through them a lot, but I give them to the kids when I'm done, and the kids love them. But yeah, everybody should have them. There's no reason. And Polaroid filters, again, you do not need. You can get the stuff I'm doing, a UV pen light. You can make things glow by either ordering UV fluorescent things, or you can take UV glow paint and put them on objects and do this yourself. Everybody should. Yeah, Liz, you need to put some ice in it and that. Yeah. See, she got a Miroscope with a little frog. Liz, if you put something UV in it, you can light it up. If you put ice in it, you can make it cold. And again, if you imagine that it's platinum and has the crystalline qualities, you start going gaga and really seeing how, real this all gets. So just some nerdy stuff from Cami. It's somebody else's time to talk now. I'm sorry, Bert. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. No, that's why we love you, Kim.
Sorry, I'm busy shutting all this extra stuff. I have about 80 tabs open, which is way.
And I keep on sending them.
No, it's me, because I should close as I get through, and I don't. I just stack it, baby. See what I can do.
That's how I am with Globebusters. Gotta have 40 million tabs open.
Struggle machine. You can do it. All right. I've got them settled.
Trick is to split your tabs between 5 screens.
I'm sorry. What about 5 screens, Josh?
I said the trick is to split your tabs between 5 screens.
Right.
That helps.
I only have 4, but still, I get the idea.
That won't be confusing.
The fact that I have 4 screens is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, me too. I know.
Yeah, I think Josh has 5 now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, together you guys are Star Trek.
All right.
Well, technically,
How do you
it's
even hook up 5 monitors?
it's 2
Jesus
computers.
Lord.
It's
Very carefully.
really 6,
I guess.
but like 6 between 2 computers.
I
if
have
that
2,
counts.
and my second one, half the time, it won't even turn on right and connect right. So I just use one screen most of the time.
That's weird. That's an Apple for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't ever have any problems with my monitors. Never, ever, ever. It works.
Well,
In fact, Windows
this is
10
like
works really good.
This thing's older, this monitor. I think it's just the monitor, not the computer.
Well, my computer is definitely older. At least the one that I have hooked up now. I've got a new one sitting right here, just built. Came in smashed up the other day. It's really great. Real
Smashed up?
awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm being a bit melodramatic there. There was one good smash on it. Enough to make it not do anything. So
yeah, speaking of new computers, I thought Brian was going to call me today about ordering his new system, and I did not hear from him.
Brian
Stavely.
All right, Brian, if you're listening.
He wasn't chatting just a few minutes ago.
He was there
Was
earlier. He definitely was. Shout out.
Oh, okay.
We keep swearing we're going to have him on, and we keep missing it for some.
I know he said he definitely wants to get another computer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
He has been struggling with allergies and stuff today, maybe.
Well, that could be it.
Time of the year for sure. Ooh,
well, when you have him on, Walt and Josh, I probably would jump into that session because
sure.
I really like the Mandela effect, and obviously there's some things that seem that could be or could not be, but then there's other things like Dolly having braces that are absolutely no doubt about it, type stuff to me. So I tend to think that whatever it is, and I know not everybody thinks this, but whatever it is, it's some sort of a real effect. And when it's coupled with a theory of existence, I guess I should say that I have gotten from one of my favorite researchers, a guy by the name of Wes Penry. I really think that the Mandela effect has an explanation there that works really, really well. And that's something I think would be really cool to kind of explore if Brian comes on and does a presentation on Mandela. And Brian's aware of it, and he loves it. He thinks it's great, but whether or not it's true or not, who knows? But it certainly brings two very different ways of thinking together to try and explain a phenomenon that, some people may or may not think is real. I happen to think it's real. I can't explain it, not fully, but I think that whatever is going on there, there's something to it.
There certainly is. Yours
Yep.
apparently is Dolly. Mine is those bears. It definitely was Berenstein's bears with the apostrophe when I was a kid, and they took that away. And then it was Berenstain. And I mean, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I saw that at a store in like 90 looking for a gift. And I was like, well, it must be that whole anti-Semitism thing that's going on in the news at this time. I think that was right after Mel's big rant and, Gibson's big trip or whatever. And so I just assumed they changed their names because it was definitely just like Frankenstein. When I was growing up, it was Berenstein. And there's no doubt about that. I had those books, loved those books, read those books.
Yeah, and I wonder. I think anybody that ever did see Moonraker, I mean, they know full well. I mean, the whole charm of the movie came down to that scene between Dolly and
Jaws.
Jaws. Yeah, I mean, if without Dolly having braces, it would have been utterly pointless.
Completely, utterly useless, right?
Yeah. So to me, that's a really strong. Of course, C-3PO with his different colored leg. That's a big one also. And there's a few other ones that I find exceedingly interesting. But and like I said, there are other things in there that people have said, well, it's always been this. And my thinking is no, it was that way the other way around.
Right. I know.
So it's like I don't know. It's just weird.
And I am a person who can remember very vivid details about very, like, in the crib, literally. I can remember those things. So for me to get it wrong on things like that, especially culturally, I'm the biggest cultural filter. I keep it all. There's hardly anything that escapes. Unfortunately, if I could keep it filled with good stuff, that might be a different story. But the trivia that stays in there, it stays locked. So
yep. And it's interesting because, it seems like there's evidence for all kinds of little phenomenons, going around that, I personally have encountered, like the UFO evidence. I've talked about the things where Cammie and I've been sitting out in our hot tub, at least back in Denver, and would see these incredibly fast moving vehicles and, or Bigfoot, Karen B's, extreme interest in Bigfoot. And I've kind of followed that. And I've known for a long time that the state of Washington actually has Sasquatch preserves. I mean, legally, for real, in the state of Washington. And then during the first Flattoberfest, I was coming back to her house at the end of that night. I was stone cold sober, and I turned into her driveway, and my bright lights were on. And as soon as I turned into her driveway, a shadow crossed right in front of me. I saw it as plain as day. And then it just disappeared. So it's like you see shit like that, and you're like, okay, what was that? So yeah, I mean, there's something to all of this, but again, we don't know jack about our world.
No, we don't. And I think that's really what we are really uncovering with all the stuff we're doing is how much we don't know.
I think it was 2019. Someone discovered a new species of whale that's bigger than a bus in the Gulf of Mexico. So yeah, we don't know shit.
Yeah, we don't know shit, but I know Jack. He lives over with Carolyn, and we all know Jack.
I don't have it handy, but there it is.
Yeah. So I just couldn't imagine why in the world a state would actually pass laws, to create a safe zone for something that would be supposedly non-existent. And I'd love to hear the story behind that, to whoever proposed that.
Right. We discussed the idiocy of is it Alabama? Where was it, Josh? I don't want to misquote the new.
It was Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right. It was okay because they're not okay. After I read that, yeah, they've actually got this PR stunt they're pulling where they're going to have hunting season for Sasquatch.
With a reward included.
With a reward and the whole 9 fucking yards. So, yeah.
Oh, that's stupid.
Somebody's
going to get shot, and it's not going to be Sasquatch.
Right, and they'll deserve it. Yep.
So there is good or bad going on in all of the states. Every time I look at our state news in South Carolina, I have to say how tickled pink and how happy I am to be here. We all know what's going on with like the shootings and the false flags and them wanting to take our guns away and do the gun control. But in South Carolina, our South Carolina Senator Thomas Corbin wants all residents to be part of militia. He wants to make it that if you're a homesteader here, which means you've lived here over a year and you're over 18, you automatically are part of the militia. It's voluntary militia, so you're not required to, but nobody can go and take any of your weapons away, regardless of what type of weapon they are, because you are part of the militia. So that's it's a nice little
It's interesting, but it kind of gives you hope back that some people can actually see the writing on the wall. I mean, they may not see it to the extremity that we do. I mean, I'm not going to say again what I think of it, but you guys all know full well what I think of the jab and what it's for. But I think a lot of people are, kind of awake to what's going on with that, and I'm glad to see that some of these people are actually in at least state government. It's too bad that there aren't more of them in federal government.
Well, it's just, again, for anybody who's read the Constitution and understands what the right to bear arms is and why it exists in there. It's just some of these taking note and getting alarmed that the federal government or the state governments are so actively media involved with disarming all of the citizens, which goes against everything in the Constitution and everything it means to be an American. And again, it's good to be in a state that wakes up, because really that's how the Constitution, that's what the right to bear arms meant, is that they never wanted the government to take away the arms from the citizens, lest whenever you do that in any type of historical situation, you might as well call yourself a slave.
Yeah.
They didn't want that to happen. That's why they never wanted the government to be so overcome that they would take all the guns and things away from the citizens. That's what it means to be an American. That's what the freedom to bear arms is that we're not worried of that type of a government. And our government is making me very wary of which direction it's going in with this. So I'm proud that somebody's awake.
Yep.
And that is just an interpretation then on that Second Amendment, just trying to be a little proactive and saying, okay, I'm going to create an organization and all you motherfuckers are in it, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that.
That's what the Constitution was. That's what the Second Amendment was.
Well, not really. Maybe the 14th Amendment I could see saying, all right, we're going to create this entity, this person, and all you motherfuckers are it, whether you want to be or not. But really, the Constitution wasn't for the people, right? It's not my Second Amendment. My rights are already there. The Second Amendment's saying, hey, government, just a reminder, these are things you can't do. These are things that are specifically protected.
Yeah, that's a good point, Josh, actually. That really is. But yeah, I mean, but the way that the government has kind of usurped power, everything is backwards, because the most power should belong first and foremost to the individual, the sovereign individual, and then that to the community, then maybe city level, then county level, then state, then ultimately up to federal. And of course, like everything else, that's been completely turned upside down, and the federal government has usurped all levels of power and assumes control and says, no, it's all top-down control. We run everything, and our laws trump everything, or at least that's what they're trying to do. And it's just astounding that they try and pull that. When it, like I said, the individual winds up having the least amount of rights, and we should be the very first ones under consideration for the protection of our rights.
Right. And just to let you know, even how they further confuse the issue and further make us to get us confused to not get together, they swap out the meanings in different countries. So if you're listening from Germany and we're crying that we do not want federal level power, we want the government out of the feds. In Germany, federal level is the most local government they are. Their national government is what we consider feds, but their federal government would be what we would call our little county or our neighborhood government. So they are all about federal government in Germany, which is again just meant to deceive what we're talking about and confuse us. So when they want the federal government, that is what we want too, but they've confused our languages. Babylon.
Bizarre. I mean, it's everywhere. You can't, and that's one of the things about being a truther, flat earther truther, whatever. And that's why they say, once you see it, you can never unsee it. You can never go back. And I honestly think that if anybody does go back, then they never saw it in the first place, because I just don't think it's possible for that to happen.
I agree, Bob.
Not at all. I can't conceive of it.
Yeah, exactly. Once you see it, there's no freaking way you're going to unsee it. Just never going to happen.
It's like the Cookie Monster.
Oh, God, no, I forgot about that.
Well, I sent him a picture of religious artwork that has the Cookie Monster embedded in like this 15th century or 17th century artwork. And once you see Cookie Monster, you cannot, instead of a crown or a halo or whatever they give saints, it's got the Cookie Monster open mouth for a cookie. You can't unsee it. Sorry, people, it's a visual. Probably shouldn't have put it out there, but it is. Walton just hit it. You can't unsee the Cookie Monster once you've seen it. Ever.
Trying to find that picture, but it's too far buried.
And not to beat a dead horse, but they also confused the issue with two constitutions for the United States government. So that makes it a little messed up too. When you have a constitution of the United States and a constitution for the United States, and the difference between the two, little differences. You have rights that are inalienable versus rights that are unalienable, I guess, depending on your emphasis of the syllables. The 13th Amendment, though, is really the big one. And the current U.S. Constitution, the 13th Amendment, is going to be sort of where they say they outlawed slavery. And that's all well and good, because then they come in and introduce the 14th Amendment to take care of everybody, not just the slaves and the free man alike, but now everybody's a U.S. citizen. But it's that 13th Amendment in the original U.S. Constitution that is a really, really interesting one. That's they call it the TONA, T-O-N-A. That's called the Titles of Nobility Amendment. It's basically saying anybody that's been granted by a title of nobility, which would then, of course, be from a foreign power, is not qualified to be a U.S. citizen. You're not qualified to hold public office. You're not qualified to vote. You're not qualified to do all of these things because you have these competing interests. You've been knighted or whatever it is, and you just don't get to. You forfeited that right by accepting this title of nobility from a foreign power. What's interesting here is that most attorneys carry a title of nobility, being esquire. And that would thereby make all of these attorneys not fit to be in the United States. And then you start looking back on the formation of the United States and our founding fathers, and how many of them were, attorneys for the crown. And why it is they negotiated us paying England back our loans in the Revolutionary War. If indeed we did win the Revolutionary War, why are we paying England? Anyway, just little things to ponder. Don't mind me. I'm just babbling.
No, those are all valid questions. And, I thought about that myself. It's like, wait a minute, if we won the war, then why are we still subservient? Why are we still sending tax money back? It's like everything else, his story. It's just, one thing happens and they tell you something else, and they do it in such a way that it's just really cleverly worded, or worded in such a way where it's, I guess, interpretable in a different way. And that's, again, that gets down to lawyer speak, right? That's why most people don't have a freaking clue what the hell's going on with lawyer speak, because it's so seemingly, I don't know,
It's
contradictory, at least to the normal layperson.
Well, it is. It's foreign. It's completely foreign. It's a whole different society that's pretending to be part of our society and using words that are similar to the words we use in our society. They've got their own language, their own statuses, their own makeup, their own hierarchy. It's an entirely separate society from the society in which we live. That legal, lawful society is completely separate. And that's where they screw us, by confusing the terms, by making terms confusable. Just like the word anarchy, people think it's, it's going to be anarchy in the streets because that means chaos, which is not what anarchy really means. But they've made the word anarchy confusable by, what's the word I'm looking for? Connecting it with the word chaos. So when people think anarchy, they think chaos. No, it's
poison
confusable.
it like they did demons, or the words, things that did not have an evil connotation that they added one to. You are spot on.
Or even conspiracy theorists in the 60s. Whenever, all these different ways, they make the words intentionally confusable so that we don't ever find that door, that way out. And every time we start to find a window, they'll slam the window shut and start looking for the next one that we're going to find. And people are out there probing and looking and trying to find the way out. And they're slamming windows shut left and right. And that's what's getting scary, is people don't even realize it. They are begging for this stuff to come down with no clue how little of it will ever go away. Thinking things are going to ever go back to normal. Well, in the same breath, talking about a COVID passport to go to a concert. I don't fucking get it. It just boggles my mind. I'm betwaddled.
On that, I have a really, really off-color joke if you guys want to hear it.
Fuck yes, please.
Yes, and you can do this while Walt, I just sent you the picture of Cookie Monster.
Oh, nice. Okay, let me share it. Hang on.
Okay, here's your off-color joke. Is the teenage girl was in the gynecologist's office, and she was all nervous and she was all embarrassed, and she was like, "Doctor, I have a really, really embarrassing question to ask you, but I'm too embarrassed to ask." And he was like, "No, I've been a doctor all of these years. I've seen everything. I've heard it all. I just want you to be at ease, honey. You can, ask me anything." And she was like, "Well, I need to find out, is it possible to get pregnant through anal sex?" And he busted out laughing, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the question I hear the most." Of course, darling, where do you think lawyers come from?
Bump. Yeah, no doubt.
Bump. Sorry. I don't saw with a good punchline, but it is. I was trying to use the time up for Cookie Monster.
Yep.
It's kind of funny.
And Josh, we say it kind of tongue in cheek when we say, "I just don't get it," when in fact we do get it. We get it very clearly. And it's funny how we react to that, because instead of just saying, yeah, the reason they're doing this is because they have this agenda, they want to do this, this, and this is how they go about it. And it's just funny because instead we kind of go, "I just don't understand why this is that way." It's like, oh, but we really do. We really do understand why. And it's just a really hard thing to come to terms with, even when you're looking right at it, looking at it right in the mouth.
Cookie Monster's on the screen.
Cookie Monster on the screen. You might want to help people out that don't see it, or zoom them up if you can. But
you gotta see it.
I don't know. This is they have to see it. Maybe zoom it up. But when you see Cookie Monster, you cannot see it.
Kind of like the ball. I can't show it. I can't get you off there.
You can't get it up there, but make it big. Yeah.
I can tell you about it.
That's crazy.
This is again an old religious painting.
I wonder how long it's going to take for each person in chat to finally go, "Oh, there it is."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the eyes are the dead giveaway.
Right, and the blue. There's fucking blue under it. You can't write this shit. It's almost like they're making fun of us.
Is that supposed to be a woman or a man in the painting?
Well, I guess it's the Madonna, I guess, holding the baby Jesus. I don't know what the picture's supposed to be, actually. Cookie Monster's
Face
mom,
looks
I
weird.
don't know. It's very weird, especially the way the bodies are.
Yeah.
Proportions.
It's not
Cookie
natural.
Monster don't care. Cookie
Cookie
Monster will
Monster,
jump in
look at that.
anybody's picture.
Right.
Cookie Monster don't give a shit.
Yeah, it is. It's like Cookie Monster went back and crashed 17th century religious artwork. Cookie Monster's like, I don't give a shit. I don't belong here, but here I am. I don't care.
Me love photobomb. Bum, 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 bum.
So I take it everybody is familiar with the honey badger video.
We are now.
Isn't that
God.
like the
Some of
first
us have-
viral video on YouTube?
Yeah, but some of us were not around then on the YouTubes.
Yeah, I had never seen it
I'd
before,
never
and then I
seen it.
watched it that day, and I went,
Yeah.
"That's hilarious."
I was killing myself when Zach showed it to me. I think me and Lucas were watching it with him.
I'm pretty sure that if we want another strike, we can play it in full.
Oh, we'll be on our third channel down, and we'll have like 2 subs and one person watching us live. And it's when are we going back? May something? Is it the 8th?
believe.
Why is that in my head?
I think that's right. I believe that's right. I think I just saw it recently. It's the 8th.
That might be it.
Oh, my birthday's May 9th.
What? We'll have a big party on
Just
our
in
roof.
time.
Taurus, Taurus,
Mhm.
my complimentary, opposite, I guess, zodiac
Yeah.
sign.
There you go.
Yep. Ted's a Scorpio. That's why we
what
get along so well. Yeah.
what day was he born on?
He was born on the 17th.
It was a Tuesday.
I was born on the 17th.
Yeah.
Just not of November.
Yeah, he's the 17th, and my son is the 16th, and then my grandma was the 15th.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Brian's a Libra.
Your wife's a crap. Nobody would ever guess.
Night and Dawn's birthday is May 8th. Even better. Or just as awesome.
Yep. All my long-term girlfriends were Scorpios. Or not Scorpios, Cancers, I mean. And so, no surprise that Cammy's a Cancer.
And I'm his longest term girlfriend.
Yeah,
I hold the record.
That's true. You do hold the record for sure. That's so funny. It looks like Hori Shicho's in the chat.
What's up, Hori?
Hey, Hori, we're fading fast, buddy. It's like, has it been 2 hours?
It has been 2 hours. I'm still imagining Hori in drag doing a Cher impersonation.
I know. I did the same thing. Oh, that's
Licking his lip, flipping his hair back.
Yep.
Yep.
And he
I
can
know.
take it for you, buddy.
I have to get Sunday's Globebuster show ready tomorrow, and there's so many different things I want to talk about. And I'm thinking about.
Ishtar? I'm just being silly.
Ishtar. I'm thinking about maybe having Chris Van Maitre come on and talk a little bit about the second son, which I think would be interesting, among other things.
Well, I'll try to pop in chat if I'm here. I think we're going to be doing the whole things with the grandkids, but it might be later in the evening. So I'll try to pop in chat and get that question about the looking around for the other.
Right. Sunday.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, is Sunday Easter? Oh, it is, isn't it?
That's why I said Ishtar, right?
Ishtar.
If we weren't dyeing eggs this afternoon, I would have completely forgotten it was this weekend.
I don't even pay attention to Easter
Me
or
either.
any of those other
Directing
holidays.
the
Really,
grandkids is why we're doing it. That's
I know, it's hard. I had
We
to
had
keep
such a
doing the
blast with it today.
Christmas thing for a couple of years, but this last Christmas, I didn't because I told my children the truth about Christmas, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, forget it."
Right.
They had no problem.
Right.
As soon as I told them about it, they were like, "Oh really?" And like they just didn't even care.
Yeah.
And then I told my son to tell my daughter that Santa was dead because I didn't have the heart to do it. Then he tells her Santa is fake, and she goes, "I know." And I'm like, "Oh, come on. How long did you know? And why didn't you tell me so I didn't have to keep this charade going?"
kids have to keep up the charade because they're scared if they say they're trained, if they're like, they think if they tell you they know, they're going to not get presents anymore. So it's kind of teaching them lying. I mean, that's part of the evil little
I know, it's
backstory. And it
screwed.
really is. It's really screwed. It's really screwed. It's a way that you build up communication that's not very honest. And again, it teaches them to keep those secrets from you because they have worries. What if she knows I won't get presents? You know, otherwise, why would she lie to me about it? Seriously.
I know Santa's not real, but I'm not about to let the motherfucker stop giving me presents.
Our children are bright. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was already doing it where Santa brought them the lame stuff and the cool stuff came from like mom. You know what I mean? Like I didn't
Smart
give
mom.
Santa credit for the good shit. I took credit for the good shit. And I gave Santa credit for stuff like
Underwear.
socks.
Right.
Yes.
Smart. Yeah, smart. There you go.
So then when I killed Santa, they were like, who cares?
Man, I didn't like my socks anyway. Stupid
He
fucking
gets lame
elf.
presents.
That's awesome, Karen. That's really, really awesome.
That's so funny. I remember as a kid, I mean, the worst gift you could ever get was clothes. It's like, really? Come on.
My mom buys me clothes all year long. What is this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I figured it out real young, and I had to keep quiet for my sister and my cousins. And think
See, I
it
was the
lasted
only
just a couple
child.
years.
I was the only child, and I figured it out when I noticed that Santa had the same type of handwriting as my mother.
Imagine that. You know, it's funny. My dad actually went as far one night to get my sister and me out of bed, and we brought us down to the living room, and he had hidden a walkie-talkie inside of the Christmas tree, and he's saying, "Yeah, Santa Claus wants to talk to you through the Christmas tree," right? I'll never forget that. We're sitting there carrying on this conversation with the Christmas tree, thinking it was Santa Claus. It's like unbelievable.
Oh, and your mom and dad spent so long that night laughing at you guys. You know,
No
my
doubt.
dad, who had 5 children, used to take us out to the forest mushroom hunting when we were children. And he had us all convinced that if we made a sound, that we would scare the mushrooms back in the ground. And he said it was such parental authority that it took me until I was a teenager before I wasn't scared of scaring mushrooms back in the ground.
See,
He was brilliant. He managed to bring 5 children. This was really good. Santa Claus, not so much, but my father, even though they did laugh their butts off at us, I'm sure it was a way to make 5 very rambunctious children shut up and look at the forest and at the ground and not make a noise and really look at what's going on. And so my appreciation from that and that gift was immense. But it was ornery of him to put it that way.
Yep. That
And
was
pretty
your dad.
funny. Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, my mom had the neighbor call. We could talk to Santa on the phone and just had the neighbor so we wouldn't recognize the voice. That's the sort of diabolical brain we're dealing with when it comes to my mom and her Christmas.
That's hilarious.
Obsession. Yeah.
Yeah, but the talking Christmas tree, that was definitely unique.
Well, I bet. I bet your therapist got a kick out of that even after you left the session.
Right?
Speaking of therapists, I can't wait till these generations get old enough and have to deal with all the necessary therapy behind the little creepy fucking elf creeping around the house all night, moving shit, taking shit, hiding shit. Fuck
Up
that
on the
elf.
shelf.
Fuck that elf.
I agree. Fuck that elf.
Yeah, that would have been my first kill. My first confirmed kill as a child would have been fucking elf on a shelf. Had it been around, it would have been dead and gone.
Dude,
I don't know.
80s, and that was it forever.
Look, if I got to sacrifice one Christmas of presents just for killing that fucker, I'll try it again next year. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Barbie was my first victim. My sister's Barbie doll. It got a mohawk, a colored mohawk. Its head was decapitated and became a target for my rubber band gun.
I used to
was
mutilate
wicked with that
Barbies.
thing.
I used to
traded-
mutilate them.
I traded my Barbies for roller skates. I got in a lot of trouble. My parents spent a lot for some type of stupid Barbie thing. I saw it, was horrified, and I traded it for like those roller skates that you just like clipped on. You know, like the little metal clip-on ones that you could make longer or shorter. And they're like, you should have at least gotten good skates. And it's like, any skates are better than a Barbie doll.
That's funny. Cool. So here we are at the end of another week. Wow.
I know, right?
I know.
And next week we're going to take a trip to the coast, I think.
Ooh.
Are you?
Yeah, we're talking about it, going to maybe Myrtle Beach or something. And I remember you saying someplace that was a bad place to go there. So we'll have to get the down low on that from you.
All of Myrtle Beach, from what I can remember. And that was like in the 90s.
Really?
We went Hilton Head.
No,
or
we go
where
to
do we
Myrtle
wanna go?
Beach.
I mean, if
We
you
go
like,
to Myrtle Beach and we have fun. I like North Myrtle Beach.
see, maybe that was my issue. My parents just took me to all the big tourist trap. Hey, look, T-shirts and sunglasses. Look at all the
Yeah,
airbrush.
Myrtle Beach is like 90 miles long, so there's quite a lot of.
Yeah,
beach.
there is a part of it that is real touristy. It's got the big Ferris wheel there, like the big sky wheel they call it, and that's the touristy part. But if you go north of that or south of that, it's not as bad, and it is like the longest uninterrupted stretch of coastline on the East Coast.
Nah,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm
On
just going
beach, of beach,
I'm
of
gonna
beach.
keep
Yeah,
judging the whole thing.
uninterrupted, just straight beach.
I'm going to judge the whole thing on that little bit. Appreciate your input, though. I'm going to still go. The whole thing is bad. No,
Yeah, and
I'm
Karen
just-
open to. We've never seen the ocean in this part, ever touched ocean in this part of the world. So if it's Hilton Head, if it's, I mean, we just
Hilton
want
Head's
to
good.
see. We want to see the ocean, so we're not hooked on Myrtle Beach either. We're very, very open to any. We just want to touch ocean here.
Yeah, there's in North Carolina too. There's the Outer Banks. There's
Oh, I
Holden
want to see the.
Beach.
Oh, I want to see the Outer Banks. So
I want to
much.
go
They
to the
were
Outer
always
Banks
my
too.
stores.
I haven't gone to the Outer Banks yet, but I do
I
want to
haven't.
check that out. But I mean, like, dude, hundreds of miles of coast. You could just go, just pick a place and just go.
Oh, now I want to go to the Outer Banks.
Okay, dumb
Wow.
question. What are the Outer
With you,
Banks?
Karen.
Okay,
The
Outer Banks on North Carolina. You know, if you look on the coast of North Carolina, how like when you get out there, it has like those little strip of islands, that are out on the coast, and then between the mainland and
Like
those
Galveston
islands,
off of Texas, maybe it would be a barrier island.
it's like a strip of land and islands that comes down the coast of the Carolinas. It's kind of exposed out there. And there's like a really long sandbank there. The water stays really shallow. But it's kind of a trip. All the houses are on stilts because of the hurricanes that come through. So it's like all on stilts. And it's just this little strip of islands that are kind of out there in the ocean, a little bit off the coast. The
Like
Outer
the
Banks.
Weatherwood and it's
Yeah.
called the Outer Banks. It's something of all of my childhood. I've grown up reading a lot, and a lot of the books that I read took place on the Outer Banks, and maybe there's a reason for it. But it's up there with places I want to go to because
Yeah.
I spent time there in books, a lot of time there in books.
And I
want to
think,
go with you,
too-
Karen, on there, but maybe Hilton Head with you, honey. But I want to do Outer Banks. You can come too, Karen, but I want to do Outer Banks with you. I feel like we should together.
Yeah, you know what else too? There's an area, I think it's in the Outer Banks, where there's wild horses that live right there on the coast, and you'll see herds of horses out there.
And you
And
know
they
what else?
protect them. They have them protected, like they monitor them and stuff. But they leave these herds out there, and they live right there on the coast. Yeah, it's so awesome.
In my books, Karen, on the Outer Banks, there's always these wonderful crystal shops.
Yes,
I'm serious. In my book, that's what they do: is they get at the crystal shops in the Outer Banks. You find like talismans and things that we're waiting for you to find. It happens in the Outer Banks is one of those areas where things that are supposed to pass through to you come through.
Okay, now I want to go.
Okay, now
even
you want to
more.
go. I know that's why you.
I already wanted to go.
This is how in multiple stories from multiple authors, that little piece of information, that's something that needs to pass through you. You pick up a crystal or a token or a talisman. It will be waiting in the Outer Banks.
That is awesome.
I should have known that something like that would be the reason. Ooh, rocks. That's
Yes, ooh, rocks.
Yep. So, yeah, it'll just be nice to, we haven't seen the ocean in 3 years.
The
Last time-
Atlantic is great. It's warm. It's so much warmer. Like, okay, I grew up in California, right there in the Pacific, and the Pacific is it's a great ocean, but it's cold. Northern California ocean is cold.
Not
Yeah,
by
it is.
Hawaii, it's not.
Well, no, I know that's Hawaii, but in California, it's cold. Unless you
Yeah, it
get down to like the San Diego, Southern California area, then it starts to get warmer. But even that water is not as warm as the water in the Atlantic off Myrtle Beach and the coast over here.
Mm.
It's like walking. It's so glorious. I love it.
The only time I've ever been in the ocean on the East Coast was Jones Beach in New York. And that's the only time I've been on the ocean on the East Coast. And
I've been Florida Keys in that area. I mean, I've done both sides on the Florida Keys, but and I've been in New York and New Jersey and have looked at. I've never touched the ocean or walked out to the. Usually I was working when I was in the cities, so it was a different experience. But I've never been on a beach other than the Florida Keys.
Oh, you guys got to go down to
In this part of the park.
St. Augustine is right in northern Florida on the East Coast. And you hit it at the right time of year, and nice hotel rooms are like $60 a night, $50 a night.
This is another day trip for us, Zach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, it's like real touristy sometimes of the year, but other times of the year, there's not many people that go there. And I mean, it's Florida, so the weather's never really bad,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, St. Augustine, there's a Star Fort there, and it's like the oldest town in the United States.
Oh, wow.
But the whole downtown, there's no cars at all. It's just all walk paths.
So are you
all the
gonna-
roads are so small. No, I'm going to stay here. I got work to do. There's garden beds need to be built, and
We've got to get you over your phobia. If I get over my spider phobia, you're going to get over your ocean.
And keep in mind that it's just 3.5 hours from here. It's not a long. In other words, if he doesn't do it on this day, he can do it on another day. It's there. Now I have heavy duty good beaches to compete with my favorites, and you can do your favorites on that. My favorite beaches in the world are tied. My first place tie is Kalihiwai on Kauai with the fresh water and the beaches and the surf
Gorgeous
and everything.
beach. Yep.
That is tied in first place with the beach in Haifa, Israel, where you have the grandparents and the children and the ice cream trucks and the family atmosphere on the most beautiful, beautiful beach line, and the mountains and the flowers. And Haifa has a little bit of everything in it on the Mediterranean. Those are going to be my tied for first place. So I'm going to see if the Outer Banks or something can get in there, because that's pretty spectacular.
my
Competition.
favorite beach isn't along the ocean. It's along Lake Michigan, the Dunes National Lakeshore. They have sand dunes that are like 50 feet tall, easy, at the end of Lake Michigan, from the wind blowing down towards the south end. And Mount Baldy, I forget how there's one, they've named it. It's so big. But they're just these giant, enormous sand dunes that form right at the edge of the beach in this one part.
We have
Yeah,
them at the
they're
edge of not the
enormous.
water, in the bottom of Colorado, the Great Sand Dunes, except for it's all desert area now. It was underwater, obviously, but we have miles of giant sand dunes like you're talking about, and it's called the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. Again, a wonderful anomaly. Its own type of ocean.
Well, growing up in the southern parts of Mississippi and Louisiana, I spent a lot of time in the Gulf, and the beaches there are, they're okay. They're not great. There's like a lot of grayish sand, and some of the water gets really muddy.
Jellyfish.
And the jellyfish will sting the piss out of you when you're a kid and don't know better. But when I was about 12, we moved to Miami, and spending a lot of time on Hollywood Beach, man, it was like a different world. The white sand, and then you start playing around in the sand and realize that almost half the sand is actually little tiny shells, and that just breaks your brain because you didn't know shells were that small. And actually seeing real clams under the water doing the little bubbly thing and playing with them. And that was just, none of that ever happened on the Gulf Coast beach. So those are probably my favorite beaches there in Hollywood Beach. Now, I don't know what it's like. This is in 1978 and 79. So I'm old.
The magic aha, like the stuff that brings you back to your child aha wonder moments. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The beaches in Oregon are good. They're pretty. There's a lot of cliffs and a lot of amazing water, like streams that come from the mountains all the way down to the beach, which bring all these amazing crystals and pretty rocks that have been washed and tumbled. But it's always so cold. I've never been in the water there. My brother says most people don't go in the water there unless they're in a like neoprene suit and kind of cold freaks because it's cold all the time there. So I've never messed around in there, but the beaches are beautiful. It's just I haven't spent a whole lot of time on them. So
no, the Dead Sea was very, very cool, and I covered myself in the black mud and I
that
floated
sounds
in the Dead
amazing. I would love
Sea.
to float in that. Yes, that's one of my.
But I didn't
bucket lists.
consider that a beach because it's a whole different experience. I mean, you're how many 400 feet below sea level, and it's clay and mud and everything flowing in, and I don't even associate that with beach. But I do have to say that was off the charts, super cool, completely off of the charts, floating in the Dead Sea. And again, and I did the mud bath. I love that day.
That would be great too.
Relived that day a lot in my mind. It was really a treasure.
That's awesome.
Burrs.
Well,
I reckon we could
we've been
wrap
at
this
this
thing
for
up,
a
huh?
couple of hours. I know. What time is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Started
I'm about.
late, but we've all had a busy week. I know you guys have had a busy couple of weeks, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm about ready to call it a night, but it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming and hang out again, Bob and Cammie. Y'all appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Love
Sean.
No problem.
Karen, thank you again. I know I thanked you earlier for the big picture, but just thank you for being here and being a friend and hanging out with us and sharing it. So thank you.
Thanks for having me on again, you
Sure.
guys. It's always a pleasure.
We do enjoy it as always.
Nuka, we miss you, brother. We didn't get much time with you. I know it's a different time zone and all kind of things, so we will definitely need to catch up with you, friend. Love you. Congratulations. Don't get in trouble with that lady again. Anyway, love you, friend. Miss you. Come hang out.
Yeah,
with
we're
me.
all expecting invites in the mail.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I better be there at the bachelor.
Love y'all. Have a good weekend.
Lucas, thank you, friend. I know you had to get out here and get you some rest, and hope you feel better. Love you, buddy.
All right.
Josh, Zach, thank you so much.
Thank you, Walter. I'm just trying to figure out what sounds I have. I know I had Lucas's music here a minute ago.
But
I think that
I
was.
have it all somewhere. If I pull it up, but I don't know if it'll sound all right. You want me to try?
I mean,
We
mine doesn't
have
sound all right. I'd do it
electric
anyway.
Underpants.
Thank you, chat, everybody. Love y'all. I reached out to Brian on Skype. Hopefully we'll get in touch with him and get you and Bob in here and talk about some of this Mandela stuff. Definitely something I want to dig into and toss around.
Gonna be a lot of talking on that show.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yep, for
Might
sure.
be a little long.
I'm ready. That's fine.
Might be a little
We'll
long.
buckle in, eat a lunch, take a nap. I'll be ready. I'll be
To be
ready.
doing a basic introduction to Wes Penry, right?
There we go.
It should be
Yeah.
interesting, though. I mean, I've heard Brian and Bob talk about this stuff, and it is interesting. So it'll be a good show.
I think we'll all be very impassioned at some point because I think it touches all of us in a deep place. It really does. So I'm excited. So.
Yeah.
Well, man.
Antarctica expedition.
Love it.
Yeah, thank you so much for turning me on to Chief Crow too, Karen. I'm finally,
Definitely.
I'm enjoying
and us out here
music
by,
again.
by proxy that got it secondhand. Thank y'all. It was great stuff.
You're welcome.
Zach, where did you
He's
put
pretty
it?
awesome.
I was going to download it, man. I was going to find it and hear it. Oh, the channel. I've got it right here. I knew I had it. Okay.
Yeah, Critical Inception and Ted Summer have been putting out all kinds of their video from the concert. Yeah. It's awesome.
I have it open. I knew I had it somewhere.
Live was amazing. He didn't have, on the albums, it's like a Beck album. He's playing so many different instruments and making all, but live with just the acoustic guitar, the harmonica, that little
And his
drum
kick
that he
drum.
had. Yeah,
Yep.
and his voice is like, he sings all the voices. He does the real high ones, and then the real low, crazy. His voice sounds like a didgeridoo.
Yeah.
He likes the way
He's
I talk.
very talented.
I like the way he talks. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, I'd love to get Chief Crow on one of these times. Even if it's not live, just kind of get to know the guy and hang out. He seems like a really cool, just down to earth. Yeah. Flat earther.
They're the
Yep.
best.
Yep.
The fucking
Cool.
best. Happy
Mhm.
Friday,
Fucking
everyone.
Yep. Peace out, everybody.
Happy
Love y'all.
Friday.
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. It's time to go. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this evening. This has been another super exciting episode of Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Roll Media podcast channel. Is that where we are? At least till the
For
May.
now, damn it. For another week or two.
All right, well, guys, wish me luck. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm going to have to apparently dig into this computer myself. How's that for money well spent? All right, then.
I'll give you a hand.
We have the best sleeping bags.
I'm at Anyway. Thank
All
y'all.
right.
Love y'all.
Bye-bye.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are aware, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are awake, we are aware, we are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.